Welcome to.
Salud.
Salud with MariaBloom.
All right. So this is a special episode. We got my brother Yvonne back on, and we're celebrating the anniversary of our EP, Dark Dahlia, released April 4th, 2019, and it's April 4th, 2020.
Yep. And it's on Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much any streaming service it's out there. So if you haven't already, give that a listen, or even if you have, give it another one. Let us know what you think. We're always looking for feedback and all that type of stuff. But we're just getting together today to kind of in celebration of the 1 year anniversary and kind of just we're gonna kind of bounce some questions off of each other and kind of
reminisce a bit.
Reminisce, think about the process and how everything went, and then talk a little bit about what we've got coming up. So we'll go ahead, just jump right in. The first question: what would you say is your most memorable moment regarding Dark Dahlia? Sal, you want to start that off?
Yeah. So we had basically written these songs, and right before we started recording, we decided we should bring on someone to help us produce this thing. So I remember the first rehearsal that we had with Edwin. He was our producer. We were rehearsing at my parents' house, and it's this big room in the upstairs, and it was in the middle of the day, so the sun was shining, and it was really bright. And all of us, we were on different corners of the room. Like Yvonne and Edwin were on one side, me and Bethel were on the other. We had our own monitors. And I remember as soon as we started playing, Edwin started making adjustments. He started asking for different things, asking us questions. Why are we doing this? What can we do different? And right away, the same way that we had space in the room, I started hearing space in the music. He started separating things. And that moment is so memorable to me because that's when I started hearing what we heard on the recordings. And little adjustments, they just went a long way. And just that's part of the work that went into it.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I would say probably my most memorable moment. Fast forwards to post dropping of the EP, where we put together like album drop party, and we hosted at Bethel's house in his backyard. We had merch set out. We had chairs everywhere. We had a presentation set up with our speakers and everything, even a TV for the presentation. And like it was amazing to me because we had a lot of friends and family who came out to show their love and support. And that was just awesome because like sometimes it's hard to connect and stay in touch with a lot of people that you just haven't talked to in a while. And when things like this happened, like something important to us, and we put our time into it and our effort, and we reach out and invite people, and a lot of those people came through. And a lot of people bought T-shirts that day. A lot of people bought our CDs, and it's just the support was awesome. The turnout was great. We had a bunch of people, and we got a little wild that night afterwards, and we had fun. And it was a good time. Like I don't think I'll ever forget that day. So yeah, what about you, Bethel?
Well, my most memorable moment regarding Dark Dahlia is really just the recording, like the studio, going into the studio. But specifically like the camaraderie that we would have, because we would spend like freaking 8, 10, 12 hours, just working. But I remember one of those nights we decided we were going to go out. We went out, hung out with Edwin. He showed us some Houston dives, everything from like little dives to like live music venues to the Tejano bar.
And it was all local stuff. It was awesome.
All local stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I won't get into the details about the Tejano bar, Mr. Yvonne.
Don't get into the details. Don't do it.
But it was really.
They liked Edwin there a lot.
I liked Yvonne too.
The door guy. He was patting down everybody.
Anyway, that was really fun. We had some drinks out there, got back, and then Sal and Edwin were going to crash out, and then Yvonne and I were like, man, we're really hungry, man. And so
I didn't even know about that.
I told them, dude, I know a place, man, because we're like right there on the north side where like it used to be like really Mexican American there, and then we're right across from where like the the north side of just north of downtown Houston. But anyway, we found this little taco joint, go up there to order some tacos, And what was so funny too is like I barely got my wallet out to pay, and they already giving me the tacos that I ordered.
They knew the borrachos are coming. The borrachos are coming.
Yeah, they must have read our order like while we were driving up, because like same with me, I was before Beto, and I was already getting my tacos before I had even pulled my wallet out. I was like, damn, like all right,
So
and they were good as hell too.
yeah, so that was really cool and fun, and like I mentioned, just the camaraderie we had. That was awesome.
Yeah, cool. Well, in terms of that recording process, when we were out in Houston working with Edwin and staying there for a couple of days sometimes, what would you guys say was maybe the most challenging part of that process?
I think the most challenging part of the recording for me was actually one day it was Sal and we went, and I think we were doing singing parts. I'm pretty sure we were doing singing parts because I remember we had to sing. And we got there on a Friday night. We're going to start working at 8 in the morning on Saturday morning. And and I told Sal, hey man, let's go to this little bar around the street, man. Let's go have some drinks. And Sal didn't want to get into rock star mode. He wanted to be in Mr. Discipline mode.
I know how I feel when I only sleep 5 hours. Like, I was like, no, we got to go to sleep, bro.
Priorities.
I told him, you got to see this little dive bar, man, down Electro's. Like, I used to be in a band. We used to play there. Let's just go have a drink.
So we walked there and crawled back.
Oh, man.
But what was so challenging about the next day was not so much that we went out, but that was the night of the ghost. That was haunting me for some freaking reason. I don't know. And I didn't sleep well that night. So I remember like all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock and then it's like, I can't go in there and record. So Sal went in there, started recording. I showed up a couple hours later, and that was just really challenging because I just didn't have any sleep. And it was like a song like Far Away or Dame Calor, where I had to really put a lot of, thought and emotion into it at the same time. So that was challenging, but it was fun.
He wanted to go back to Dan Electros with you.
For me, I would say probably the most challenging part of the recording process for me was the actual recording and the tracking of the drums themselves, because in particular on Take It to the Sky, because I had never really had experience like officially recording a whole drum set with dedicated mics for everything, and having to be on a metronome and having to do everything clean and perfect for the most part. So it took some getting used to. And then with Take It to the Sky, there's a lot of different dynamics in terms of the drum beats. Like the drum beat changes 5, 6, 7, 8 different times. And that song is very fast paced and energetic, but the tone of the song is not very much so that way. There's a strong message behind that song that has to come through in the tone. And so I had to work on a lot of different things for that song to make it come out the way that it did. And in terms of timing and making sure I was on beat with everything, and that my beats were really portraying the message that we needed to hear. And so that was challenging for me, but I think coming out of that, next, for the next one, I'm going to be good to go.
Dude, that day, remember the clothes you wore like the first few days of recording?
Yeah.
It was just like some jeans and like a cool shirt, like a jacket, whatever.
Yeah.
And you went to record that song. You remember how you were wearing like athletic clothes?
Yeah, I was wearing clothes.
You're like, it's not going to happen. You're like sweating and it's like a little room.
Yeah. Oh man. And the AC cut off and everything because you could hear it in the mics. And so we'd have to turn the AC off, no fans. I was coming out of there sweating, and oh man, it was pretty challenging, honestly.
Yeah.
But y'all got some epic drum sounds.
Yeah, the drums on that song especially sound awesome. What about you, Sal?
How about you, Sal?
Well, for me, we had all the instrumentation written and guitar solos and everything. And when we got to the studio, there were a few things that we still wanted to change that we didn't have time to look at yet. And one of those things were the guitar solos. So in the studio, we like rebuilt most of the solos from the ground up, especially mine. So my most challenging part was when we did the song Her Diary. And it was because we got to the part and I could feel what I wanted to do. And I knew where my first note was, but the hard part was getting my heart to my hands. Like, I was trying to find the cool licks, and I was trying to find like the pacing, like when do I want to get to the high part? When do I want to like scream or like slide back down? But at the same time, you have to remember, what's the purpose of all this? Like, I'm inside of a song. Like, how does this fit? And it was really hard building it from the ground up, knowing that this is what's going to stay on the album. There's no tomorrow. There's no try again next week. And I really just had to rely on what was coming from right here and make sure it was coming out right. And it was so hard. But with Edwin and Beto and Yvonne there, it made it happen. So
Yeah.
And that guitar solo on Her Diary is just epic, man.
Thank you. It's a big one.
That one, epic. Because I'd shown you, I know on the drives over there, I would show you some guitar solos from some of the 80s bands that I listened to, like, Jefferson, Starship, Blue Oyster Cult, just guys like Neil Sean, Carlos Santana, and yeah, man, it's just epic.
Thank you.
Love that solo.
Yeah, a lot of all the solos from guitars and drums and everything on that EP are fucking awesome. But they all have their own like little juice, But anyway, to the next question. So what would you guys say? What song off of Dark Dahlia would you say means the most to you? I'll start this one, and I'll say that the song that I think means the most to me is kind of torn between two, but I'd have to probably say Love and Joy. I know Sal wrote that song and showed it to me one day, and I was like, dude, this song, like, and even when we showed it to Edwin, like, he's like, this song's going on the EP for sure. Like, this one has to be on there. And it's different in terms of themes from almost all the other songs, but it resonates with me just because, like, it's kind of essentially about, kind of separating yourself from negativity and the toxic energy that some people have, and inevitably there's those people in your life that you're friends with, or even sometimes family members, that bring that type of energy, and like sometimes it's unavoidable, but you just have to kind of be able to balance that and be around the people and also reciprocate better energy and vibes and all that stuff. And for me, like, that's one of the things that I'm always striving for, to just give off good vibes and also take that in return from my friends and family around me. So I think that song means the most to me. What about you?
Yeah, I was actually thinking to say that Love and Joy was also one of my most memorable songs on the EP, because you mentioned I wrote it, but it was a tough one to write, first of all, and I was doing my best effort to be a little more artful with it. But I want to talk about Far Away, because that one it's memorable to me because of the team effort that was required. When Edwin jumped on, we had to work together, like looking at each other, talking to each other, retrying to make the sound on that song right, because it's big and it's complex, and in parts it's very spacey and open and free. And I remember Yvonne, like, your verse is a completely different beat, and then Beto, you had to like add more here, and I had to just take away in the verse, and like I just hit one time or something and let the tremolo go. And that one, like, still when I listen to it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe we got there.
Yeah.
And that one is my pick. Like, it's my memorable one.
Yeah, I think on that song also, the drum beat that I have on the chorus is like one of the hardest ones that I struggle with the most to transition into, out of the other beat and into that where it is. And
yeah,
I think we all had to work like, y'all were standing there like coaching me through it, trying to help me.
Do you remember what I was doing to help you get that done?
No, what were you doing?
Remember I was doing like a little dance, like boo, boo.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
With me, you and Edwin?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Anyway, what about you, Bethel? What song means the most to you?
Um, I mean, there's each song has a lot of meaning to them. I would say right now, because of what's going on with this pandemic, I really would have to say "Take It to the Sky." Um, that song I wrote because I wrote about songs about suicide, um, and it's about getting to that place where you're like, man, fuck it, man. I just don't want to. You just don't see a way out, right? And I know right now during this pandemic, like things look pretty grim. But that song is also, it's not as dark as it, like, it's got that dark undertone, but the whole "Take It to the Sky" is more like, fuck all this, man. Let me just live, you know? Let me just really live. Like, let me just be in this moment. And I think as human beings, we're always being taught to like be happy and all this and all that, but we're never really taught to like really feel our emotions and feel how we're really supposed to experience life because we're freaking human,
Yeah.
And for me, that song was just very liberating to write because I felt like at that point, like I couldn't go down that road. I'd seen so many other people and just seen the kind of roads they'd gone down, and I just kind of refused to. So that song came out. And so for me, that just the effort that it required, like Sal was saying about, working together to make a song that had the sound and the feel of what we were really talking about. I feel like we really did that together, and, Edwin worked the crap out of us on that song.
Dude, that song was torn down, like all the way down to the studs.
Yeah, and I'm so glad he did. But
we almost didn't let him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were fighting about it for a while. But yeah, that's the song. Like, it has a lot of energy. It's our fastest paced song, but like it has a lot of meaning to it for sure, especially right now.
Yeah, it's got that rawness.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, man. We're going through a pandemic. It's tough. It's this is a crisis, but we're all here. I think that's the reason why I think I focus on teamwork, because we're all here supporting each other and helping each other make art and just be human.
Yeah, and just connect too, because I mean, right now, all of us have been locked up, and it's just sometimes you just need some human interaction and just kind of unwind a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but anyway, all right, let's jump over to the last question. This one's more just looking overall at the entire process from start to finish. I think each one of us probably went through some adjusting and some developing different habits and skills. So this question is more like, what kind of new skills or habits or work ethics do you think that you picked up and developed by working with the team and putting this thing together and seeing it all the way through? Sal, you want to start this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, like, a lot of people see, either at work or like, like a school team or something, but it came back to me here. It's accountability. Like, just little things, like we said we would be at a rehearsal and we would all be there. Granted, on Latino time, and we would get there.
An hour late.
we would talk, but we would all be there, and we would all be there, ready to work, ready to be present, and
also sometimes sacrificing other things, other gatherings or whatever.
100%. And even when it comes like, hey, these are the songs, these are the things we're noticing are wrong, we'd go home and we'd rework them because we're accountable for it. Or like, Bethel, you're mentioning "Take It to the Sky." We were in this weird rut where we broke the thing down and we couldn't find a way to build it back up. And I was like, I think I can help. So I went home and I felt not totally accountable for it, but I felt I could help. So for that reason, I was like, I got to. So I started putting things down, and I sent Bethel the recordings. And that next day we drove to Houston, and just little things like that, it goes a long way. And because, I mean, we're doing it for not just ourselves, but each other and the album. And so, yeah, that really helped me go a little farther.
Yeah, most definitely. What about you, Bethel?
I mean, I don't know. I think for me, it's more just a personal thing of like working on my singing, because, you know, I wish I would have had a voice like a Chris Cornell, you know. You know,
We'd
but
be in a big studio right now if it were for that.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like I'm not Chris Cornell, you know, and I've had
Yeah.
to, and I did accept it. And so, and you know, I think Sal and our voices when we sing, we really complement each other. And you know, and we haven't had the opportunity to really push you, Yvonne, because you got a great voice too. But you know,
You do, dude.
so you know, I mean, we're just gonna keep working on it, right? But like finding, for me, it's just been experimenting and getting to the habit of experimenting with my different vocal things that I can do, things that I can do to make a song, you know, sound good, right?
Right.
And so that's what I've been focusing on, is just not worrying about, you know, whether I could sound like somebody, more just worrying about, hey man, just like go for it and see what it sounds like and see how it comes out. And if it's genuine, it's genuine, and then share it with you guys, and then y'all input, and then you know we rework the songs and make it make MariaBloom music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Cool. For me, I think working on Dark Dahlia kind of helped me develop personally in terms of being able. I'm an Aries, so I'm a fire sign. So I always kind of want to be the
Really?
leader. Yeah, really. I always
You're a
kind of
fire
want to be
sign?
the leader, and I want to like have the final say in things. That's just the way that I operate, and sometimes I have trouble stepping back and cooperating and letting people kind of work together. So I think working on Dark Dahlia with you guys like really helped me step back a little bit, and in terms of writing music, had really been my first time writing music as and I wasn't even part of all the writing, but in terms of coming in and putting my original, like pretty much 100% original drum tracks down.
Yeah, it's still production, man.
Yeah, and putting it in like over time, building stuff and changing parts and adding parts and adding accents and everything. I mean, that took time, and also some of the stuff I was hearing in my head wasn't necessarily what you guys wanted, or wasn't the sound that you wanted. And so I had to kind of step back in those instances and be like, okay, what do you want to hear? Let me try this. Okay, is this kind of closer what you want to hear? And that took time, and over time we got there. And then now, like what you hear on the records, like that's a culmination of months and months of tweaking and little, and even sometimes me not noticing that changed something, but definitely changing it, and it stuck and it stayed there, and everyone like felt it and heard it. And so for me, I think it was all learning how to kind of work together in terms of writing music, and then also kind of being able to step back and take suggestions, and also give suggestions instead of giving this is what needs to be done. More of, how about let's try this, let's attempt this, maybe this sound, that sound, or maybe change this lyric, that lyric. So I think that was a big development for me.
Yeah, that's cool, dude.
Cool, man.
Well, how about this? What's next for MariaBloom?
That's true.
What's next?
Well, I mean, I think we've been on a little bit of hiatus. We can all agree on that, and I mean, for different reasons. We've all got a full-time jobs to keep up with, and other responsibilities. So it's been hard to stay on top of everything. And then me being in Dallas and you guys in Austin, that makes it harder to really do a lot of the things that we need to do in order to keep moving forward. But I would say MariaBloom isn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? I think you guys are working on some new music that I'm about to jump in and start working on with you guys, and see what's up from there.
Yeah, Sal's been sharing some music with me. We've been sharing some stuff with each other, some
Yeah.
good stuff, and getting a little bit of a heavier sound, which I'm really digging, but also just being MariaBloom, because we play everything. Like, we don't limit ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, looking forward to writing some more tunes.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the cool thing about
No, go ahead.
the cool thing about the EP is that all 6 songs were very similar, but kind of like on the same tree, but different branches going different ways.
Yeah.
And so on this next album, I can totally see sounds of all the different branches that we established coming out to play. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. That's actually perfect, because like Dame Calor is obviously like our only Spanish song on the EP, but we've already have one in the works that is in Spanish primarily, and I think it sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to obviously keep working on it, develop it, and finish it off. But I mean, just in terms of that, that's a perfect, example. Is that we have some stuff in Spanish, and we can do a lot more with Spanish stuff, and kind of give it that more Mexican punk
Yeah.
rock type of sound, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. Some like dreamy stuff, some heavy stuff, some colorful tunes like Love and Joy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope everyone's excited. I hope everyone liked our chats and our very open and honest and genuine answers. Well, stay tuned for another episode of Salud with MariaBloom. So cheers, guys.
Salud.
Boom. All right.